Well, hello again. It's Kathy. Want to live a life of optimism, inspiration, joy, and meaning? It can be yours if your energy is vibrating at a high enough level. Everything is energy. You, me, books, movies, actions, a table, organizations, thoughts, a tree, everything. Ask any quantum scientist. And energy vibrates from low and slow frequencies to high and fast. If we are vibrating at the low end of the human spectrum, we're experiencing fear-based ego emotions such as humiliation, despair, anxiety, hate, and scorn. If we're at the high end of the spectrum, though, we're experiencing our love-based divine states such as trust, optimism, understanding, reverence, and bliss. Double Dr. David Hawkins, MD and PhD, wrote a book that launched me on my spiritual path years ago called Power versus Force. He used applied kinesiology or muscle testing to calibrate or measure levels of consciousness. If you're not familiar with muscle testing, our bodies go weak in the presence of falsehood or negativity, and strong in the presence of truth or positivity. Muscle testing is widely used today by alternative healthcare practitioners, among others, to determine what helps or harms our bodies. Dr. Hawkins established a map of consciousness, an arbitrary scale from 1 to 1,000, and calibrated levels of consciousness along that scale. At the lowest levels, we see the energy of shame calibrating at level 20, guilt at 30, apathy at 50, grief at 75, and fear a little higher at 100. At 125 is desire, 150 is anger, 175 pride, and at 200 is the break-even point at courage. Vibrational levels below 200 are detrimental to both individual and societal life and are destructive expressions of the ego mind, which Dr. Hawkins identified as force. Energy levels above 200 are constructive expressions of true power. It's helpful to note that this is a logarithmic scale, so 300 is not twice as effective as 150. It is 300 to the 10th power. So, an improvement of even a few points the higher you go above 200 is a major increase in power. On the positive side, at 250 is trust, 310 is optimism, 350 acceptance and forgiveness, 400 is reason and understanding, 500 is love, 540 is joy, 600 is bliss, and above that, enlightenment. No individual person lives entirely within one state all the time. Levels are mixed depending on certain areas and times of your life. You may be more advanced in your work life, for instance, but much less advanced with personal relationships. But you calibrate overall as the sum total of your consciousness level. The average improvement for a person over their entire lifetime is only 5 points. But when you get to level 310, which is willingness and optimism, people are open-minded, friendly, and helpful, facing their inner issues, and are self-correcting. So growth can be much more rapid after that. What's interesting is that for hundreds of years, the calibration for all mankind was 190. In the 1980s, it jumped to 204, past the tipping point from negative to positive. Still, 85% of the world's population calibrates below the critical number of 200. Only above 4% of the world's population calibrates at an energy field of 500, which is love or above. Only 0.4% reaches 540, and a consciousness calibrating at 600 or above is reached by only 1 in 10 million people. The influence of comparatively few individuals of advanced consciousness counterbalances entire populations at the lower levels. Conversely, the extreme negativity of a few perverse individuals can sway entire cultures and produce a global drain on the general level of consciousness, as history has shown us. We are fortunate here in the developed Western world to have many opportunities for self-empowerment, creative expression, and spiritual freedom that whole cultures throughout the world don't have. We have the opportunity to jump hundreds of points in a lifetime. It all depends on our conscious awareness, our motivation, and our determination. If you can escape the egocentric draw of sub-200 energy vibrations, consciously choosing a compassionate, kind, and forgiving worldview and lifestyle, big leaps are possible. And remember, the scale's logarithmic, so even a move from 352 to 352.2 has a significant impact on your own life and the effect on the world in general. The map of consciousness clarifies and illustrates the importance of developing and maintaining a high energy vibration. This vibration level is how we help the world. Shine That Divine is devoted to just this, growing up and out of fear-based sub-200 ego mind and toward higher and higher expressions of our divine self. Well, how do vibrational levels work? How do we come to vibrate at a particular level? We, as energetic beings, are powerful magnets for attracting emotional states, people, situations, things that vibrate at the same frequency that we emanate. You get what you give. What you may not get is immediate, and it may not look exactly like you expect it to look. But this law of attraction is universal law, whether or not you know about it and whether or not you believe it. When you think certain thoughts over and over, that energy gains momentum. And when you feel an emotion around that thought and you expect a certain outcome, it turbocharges that energy. When you talk about it, act on it, read about it, that belief gains more and more intensity, and your experience brings you lots more of it. You cannot believe yourself to lack money and attract prosperity. You can't believe you're sick and attract health. You can't believe you're vulnerable and attract safety. For instance, if you come to believe that the world is a scary and unsafe place, because you watch the news and you read the articles and you talk to your friends about threats and attacks and defense and protection, the world will confirm your fear by bringing you plenty to be terrified about. If, on the other hand, your focus is on gratitude for your life, and that's what you read about, think about, act on, and talk about with your friends, about how fortunate you are and how kind and helpful and creative people are, the universe brings you more of that. The stronger the positive or negative emotions and expectations you experience, the stronger reinforcement you get from the world. Where your focus goes, your experience grows. You can see why most people only change 5 points over a whole lifetime. Our beliefs are self-reinforcing. Most people get more entrenched as time goes on, addicted to their thinking and their opinions. To raise our vibration, we have to consciously choose to change our thoughts. When we feel a negative emotion, it's a fear-based ego red alert. We're drawing to us negativity and what we don't want. Pretty straightforward. If you feel any kind of bad, apply the fear to love process to transform your thinking from sub-200 level, fear, to above 200 level, love. By number 1, noticing your fear-based thought, which is anything that's not love, and 2, applying a love-based solution, such as understanding or compassion or kindness. To demonstrate, I distinctly remember about a year ago going to lunch with my family and feeling resentful and indignant that I had to endure another restaurant full of TVs, showing sports, and not having fresh, plant-based, healthy options on the menu like I wanted. I'm sure my obvious displeasure was noticeable as I cast a satisfying pall over the group. definitely sub 200 material. Then a wave of consciousness, also known as sanity, washed over me. Rather than spread my unpleasantness, I could make a choice to enjoy my loved one's company instead and be grateful for the servers and dishwashers that wouldn't be me. Instant 300 territory, thank you. So notice your negative feelings. Change your thinking from fear to love. Raise your vibration. Be happy. Help the world. Remember that in every moment of every day, you make a choice to grow that ego or shine that divine.